5B, superintendent evaluation.
Dave had asked to have some evaluation instruments considered by the districts to be used for superintendent evaluation. To back up just a little bit, the administrator evaluations in the state of Iowa a year ago became part of a legislative piece of action. So teachers have teaching standards and administrators do as well. And the look at administration is that it's required by law that administrators, that would be principals, anyone in a school district who's considered an administrator, would have an evaluation meeting those state standards, and it would be done in a summative form once every 3 years. And it can be done in a summative form more frequently than that if a district wishes. My experience as a superintendent has been I've had a summative evaluation every year in any district that I've worked in. When Dave asked about considering different instruments, the last board packet that you got in March, I enclosed the instrument that you used as well as the comments that have been written by all 10 board members. Dave has examples from Denison, Harmony School District, and Lamar's. If you look at the Harmony School District, this is the instrument that some of you used if you used it years ago when you evaluated me. The Walleye View Auburn Board used the same instrument. It might not look quite the same, but all of the criteria are listed for the standards, and that was a narrative form. So we have used this both in Sakin and Walleye View Auburn in prior years for the superintendent. Dave, do you want to go from here with any other comments that you might have? And then I can share with you what, I gave the same information to Walleye View Auburn last night. I can share with you what their comments were.
Well, yeah, the only thing about it is that I'm just dealing with human nature here. And since we're only doing this once a year, I'd like to do something again and again and again so that we have sort of an understanding rather than doing something one year and then different thing the next year and so forth like that. The second thing is, when I picked out, when I purposely went to these two, and I have more at home, the reason that I thought they were the simplest, and that's what I was trying to do, is boil it down to be quite easy for us to take a peek at. The reason why I took the third one from Harmony, and I tried to get this across to the secretary, is because it's sort of an evaluation of an evaluation. It's sort of an evaluative approach to evaluation, and that's why I think it's sort of a good way to take a peek at, but it's sort of a dictionary. And the only reason why I present this is because for us to be consistent year after year after year, plus the fact it gives it a rating scale, which I like the idea of a rating scale. Simply it's above average, it's average, it's not above average, you know, not average, and that's the way we look at it. And then the thing that, when I talk to other board members, I find that in other districts, I find that they talk about goals and setting up goals and objectives that we want to do every year, and we have to rate these things, and that should be tied into all this business. And I also noticed that from Denison and from Lamar's, they talked about doing this in early winter or in February, and because it takes time. And so here we are sitting in April, and I'm not sure exactly what our goals are now. The thing that bothers me most of all is that we're going to try to do this together with another board, and we haven't set up goals and objectives for both boards. And I think that I would prefer to do it right here with our particular situation in our district, evaluate it on one form. We do again and again and again, and making it easy for us. And that's why I'm going down the road that I am. It's repetitive, and so we know where we're going, exactly what we're doing, and we're tying it together, what our objectives are and our goals for year, and it ties into evaluations and all this other. So that's the reason why I got on this. And the only thing that I really ask you to look at is the one from Lamar's and the Denison. The other one is just a good dictionary.
Well, I guess I remember sitting at a joint board meeting where we did establish goals.
I was going to say, I got this right here.
We did.
Yeah, and I guess my
And
question
Dave, you were
is,
at that meeting when we established those.
is probably those goals should be ongoing goals. I don't think it's probably just a one-year goal, even though we could set some short-term goals if we wanted to. But I was thinking back, I don't remember exactly what they were, but I was thinking most of the goals we set were more long-term goals.
Yeah, in fact, I can make a copy of this and give it to you before you leave, but I know at various times, Schilling may not have it, but the rest of the board has it, and Lakeview Auburn has it. In 2013, Eastsack County Schools will ensure and sustain high student achievement for all students through clear learning goals, a constantly expanding curriculum, effective, continually improving instruction, and an informed and supportive community. And then if you remember, we listed items under there, what would be indicators of those things. So if it talked about clear learning goals, what would be some things that we would look at to let us know if we had clear learning goals? What would be the bullets under constantly expanding curriculum? Talk about things like increased opportunities for student learning, foreign language at a younger age, a curriculum exceeds state and national standards. So we gave some indicators of what those particular items were. And again, I'll make copies so that you can take a look at those. But we spent 2 separate nights working on these and getting to that point there where there were joint shared goals between the 2 districts. And those were in 2013, so they were in the future. They were long range, what you're talking about.
Last year, did you evaluate separately or together, or what?
The district used the same, the two districts used the same instrument. Those instruments were given to secretaries who typed them up, and the 2 board presidents sat down with me and went through the cumulative comments.
So each person did it individually instead of a board meeting? Okay. So,
I think that was one of the problems with last year is every board member did their own thing, and when we ended up and they typed it all up, I mean, we had a laundry list of things that were pages long, and what were really the important things in all of those pages? I mean, there were some things in there that probably shouldn't even have been on an evaluation. I mean, they were, but I think there was so much there and so many comments there that I think probably the board president and yourself probably got lost in all that stuff, and what did it really mean?
You're right on, that's exactly what they're talking, it gets so lengthy, and I'm trying to get it boiled down to so we can get in and take care of it. And then, of course, in my mind, I've got about average, below average, and it just sort of get a summation of that, and it's just a quick way, so we don't have to get into the depth of where you're going with that.
Well, shouldn't we come up like with a summary of each board on how we've met those goals that we've given the superintendent?
It would be,
We should
yeah,
have
and
goals.
it would be very hard for me, if I was reporting back to you about these, to report differently to your 2 boards. And I'd be perfectly honest, because everything is combined. Elementary grades are not combined, but all the professional development is, the curriculum is identical. So when you talk about it being separate, I'm not trying to pick an argument about that, but I am a shared superintendent, and this is the whole grade sharing district. And these were developed jointly with those indicators, and it would be, I think, very unfair to think that I was going to report about SAT and then have some completely different report about Lakeview Auburn. These, when it says we have high goals for all kids, and the kids have goals for themselves, that has to do with all kids, pre-K-12 in both districts. And when we put these together, that was our intention, was for those to be joint. But you're exactly right. Everything we do could link to what those 4 goals and those indicators would be. And I really am not arguing at all about the choice of instrument. It needs to measure the state standards for administrators, and the same instrument needs to be used in both districts. I'm going to urge you to consider that. While Lakeview Auburn talked about it last night, it said their feeling was they'd be more than willing to go to a new instrument. I thought that should be considered for 2009-10, because we're at the time where that wouldn't make much sense to try to do something, because we've got the May board meeting. They would like to see more instruments. Dave said, you said you've got some more of them. Well, Lakeview Auburn said last night at the board meeting, they'd like to see, if there are more, they'd like to see some additional. But their suggestion was this could be a project to work on for 2009-10 to come to some sort of new instrument that everybody felt more comfortable with and could do what you were talking about, Dave.